if you've ever been on the WEEN subreddit or WEEN Twitter, then you know that the most frequently asked questions, I mean literally every single day, are people saying, what else sounds like the pod? Is blank band brown? What's a good album to listen to if you like the Mollusk? And without fail, every single time you'll get the same answers. Primus, Butthole Surfers, Zappa Beefheart, Prince, Mr Bungle. And all of those are totally valid. If you like WEEN, there's a very good chance that you will like some of those artists. But today what I want to do is talk about 5 more that I think should be in the conversation. These are bands or artists that reflect different aspects of WEEN. So we're basically trying to recreate WEEN in the aggregate, Moneyball style. You might not like some of these artists, you might not like any of these artists, but I think if you're a WEEN fan, there's a very good chance that you'll find something here to enjoy. And by the way, there's a playlist link down below with a couple sampler songs from every artist that I'm talking about today. Guided by Voices scratched the WEEN itch for me for a few reasons. First, they're prolific. The only difference is that while WEEN has recorded thousands of songs but only officially released a couple hundred, with the rest being leaked and circulated by fans online, Guided by Voices just straight up releases everything they write. As of 2025, Guided by Voices have 42 studio albums, 25 EPs, 22 live albums, and 14 compilations. And there's even more floating around out there if you get through all that. Second, their lo-fi sound. GBV's work between 1989 and 1996 mostly sits somewhere between Goblin Satan and Pure Guava production-wise, with a lot of their stuff obviously being recorded onto 4-track, just like WEEN. Third, their influences. Much like WEEN, they were obviously inspired by the Beatles and Pink Floyd. Stylistically, I would compare the style of classic Guided by Voices to tracks like Dr. Rock and Don't Get Too Close to My Fantasy. So if you're into that brown psychedelic sound, definitely check out Guided by Voices. Usually the most recommended GBV records for new listeners are B1000 and Alien Lanes, and for good reason. I mean, those are their best records in my opinion. But I would also recommend a couple that are closer to WEEN sonically. If you want that lo-fi grab bag nature of the Pod and Pure Guava, check out King Shit and the Golden Boys, and Self-Inflicted Aerial Nostalgia. Or if you want more of that slick white pepper sound, check out Do the Collapse and Isolation Drills. But yeah, Guided by Voices are my second most listened band, and not only because of how much they remind me of WEEN, but also just because they're great, full stop. Guided by Voices can be funny occasionally, but more often they lean towards the more earnest side of WEEN. The Dead Milkmen are the complete opposite. If you like tracks like Tick, Fat Lenny, Pollo Asado, and I Saw Gina Crying in a Sleep, chances are you'll definitely dig the Dead Milkmen's brand of sarcastic punk and indie rock. My favorite record of theirs is not Richard But Dick, but to start, I'd recommend Big Lizard and Beelzebubba.
My favorite cover band, Crystal Shit.
Wow.
And just like Guided by Voices, Dead Milkmen are still at it, with their most recent album dropping in 2023, so there's a lot to dive into for new fans. They also just happen to have a song called Dean's Dream. Coincidence? Yeah. Daniel Johnston is one of those rare artists that feels like a pure distillation of their medium. The way that Van Gogh is the painter or Spielberg is the filmmaker, Daniel Johnston is the musician. His sincere, often lo-fi recordings reveal the very heart of music, with beautiful and heartbreakingly honest lyricism. All of that to say, much of Daniel Johnston's music is like if the Pod wasn't ironic. If you like tracks like Birthday Boy and Oh My Dear Falling in Love, there's gonna be a lot for you to love in Daniel Johnston's massive discography. Also, as a point of connection, both Johnston and WEEN were on the tribute album Schoolhouse Rock Rocks, with WEEN covering The Shot Heard Around the World and Daniel Johnston covering Unpack Your Adjectives. I would definitely recommend you check out Yip Jump music, or if you want something darker, closer to an I Don't Want It or Falling Out thematically, give Retired Boxer a spin. He also did a string of more traditionally produced albums in the 90s, 1990 Artistic Vice and Fun, if you're looking for something closer to Chocolate and Cheese sonically.
True love will find you in
The end.
1990, by the way, was produced by Mark Kramer, so there's yet another WEEN connection. Go back and watch the pod episode of History of WEEN for more info on that. In summation, Daniel Johnston is great. R.I.P. to a real genius, and WEEN fans will definitely find something to love here. Okay, stay with me here. If you only know Outkast from Hey Ya and Miss Jackson, you might think I'm crazy right now. But Outkast is just about as weird as you can get in the rap world. That is, aside from Viper, who I did briefly consider including on this list, but in light of recent, allegations, I think I'll save that for another day. Outkast, which started as an Atlanta funk rap duo, slowly morphed into something entirely unique at the height of their notoriety in the early 2000s. By Stankonia and Speakerboxxx and The Love Below, Outkast had become a conceptual, psychedelic, genre-diverse songwriting machine with some of the coolest and strangest pop hits of the decade. As the group went on, Andre 3000 pushed boundaries with some truly inspired hooks and production choices, and Big Boi kept them grounded with some of the slickest and smartest bars in rap. For my money, Andre and Big Boi are the Gene and Dean Ween of rap, because they both continually reinvented their sound and craft, but also because they've broken up and reunited like a million times.
I consider myself a pretty cool guy, and I've never cheated on any of my girlfriends.
Outkast's music features the hooky and oddball songwriting of Chalk and Cheese with the slick and eclectic production of something like Friends and La Cucaracha. For new listeners, I'd recommend Stankonia, which, by the way, is easily one of the coolest records of the 2000s. And if you're a fan of more traditional Southern hip-hop, be sure to check out ATLiens.
Break!
Finally, the last artist on this list is also the youngest, Alex G. If you're an older fan of WEEN, you might not know who he is, so let me give you a crash course. Alex G was in that first wave of musicians who built their careers entirely through the internet, rather than in the traditional music label world. His first 4 albums were released directly to fans on Bandcamp, all recorded lo-fi and, for lack of a better term, very brown. Alex G's weird Verisped production style is definitely reminiscent of WEEN, though his songwriting seems more inspired by artists like Nick Drake and Elliott Smith. While his newer stuff goes for more of a traditional folk rock aesthetic, that spark of weirdness is still there for those with ears to hear. If you're a fan of Sarah, what Diener was talking about, and the Freeman album, I would absolutely recommend that you check out Trick and Rules by Alex G. In a pop landscape that often rewards accessibility and art as a commercial venture first and foremost, it's nice that there are artists like Alex G, Geese, Ethel Cain, and MJ Lenderman who still achieve peak brownness in a somewhat mainstream context. So there's a few recommendations aside from the usual suspects, and again, there's a playlist link down below if you want to check them out for yourself. Also, a huge thank you for all the support on episode 11 of History of WEEN. There's more extras videos to come on Moist Boys, Freeman, Dean Ween Group, Z-Rock Hawaii, and other WEEN adjacent artists, and also just other artists that have interesting discographies. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, happy Halloween, and stay brown.